Good morning, grade 7. So for today, we will going to continue discussing about the arts and crafts of Lowland, Luzon. So last week, we talked about on how they dressed, what are the fabrics that they are using, and also the different types of products and crafts that they are doing or making in Lowland, Luzon. So if you're ready, let's start. Today, we will going to talk about the accessories and body ornaments. So also we have the architecture and lastly the sculpture. So, accessories and body ornaments. Filipinos were already fond of making jewelry and adoring themselves with accessories even before the arrival of the Spaniards. So, before the Spaniards came in and colonized the Philippines, we already have governing system in the Philippines that we call barangay. So, in each barangay, there is a datu who serves as the highest rank in the society. And the Datos family are considered as the Maharlika or yung tinatawag na mga dugong bughaw. So as you can see in the picture, she is a part of Maharlika family because of her colorful clothes and a lot of accessories that she wore. So women always match their clothes to their belts, scarves, necklaces made of beads and pieces of gold or brass. So as you can see, kung ano yung color nung damit nila, same with the accessories. So if the clothes has a touch of red and gold, so usually the accessories are gold and the beads that they use are color red. So aside from that, women were fond of wearing accessories such as earrings, armbands, bracelets, and anklets. So as you can see in the picture, they're really fond of accessories. If a woman wears a lot of accessories and colorful clothes, that means that she is a part of the highest rank in the society. So yan yung mga accessories na gamit nila usually. Pati sa ulo meron. So aside from accessories, we also have the beauty regimens. So when we say beauty regimens, these are the beauty practices that they do every day or the routine. So Filipinos were also practice this during pre-colonial times. So an example is the ancestral Filipino used to fill and decorate their teeth with gold, color them with red or black plant dye. So, as you can see in the picture, this is an example of a skull in Bolinao where the teeth was decorated with small pieces of gold. So, during that time kasi, the uh, teeth blackening or dyeing it with black or red is usually done during the puberty of the person. So it was primarily done to preserve the teeth into old age. So uh, nagpe-prevent din to cause tooth decay. So it was also seen as a sign of maturity, beauty, and civilization to the Filipinos. That's why they do this type of beauty regimen. So another example is the men wore their hair at shoulder length while women were there even longer, sometimes even reaching the ground. So hair grooming is also highly observed to them. The men usually tied their hair in a knot on the top or sa likod ng kanilang mga ulo. So after that, they wrap it in a headcloth similar to a turban. As you can see, um, in the picture. So, ito yung turban na gamit. So, dito sa part sa likod is nakatali siya. So the women pile their hair in an elaborate style. So usually, nagsusuot din sila ng turban tapos mahaba yung kanilang mga buhok. So sometimes they use flowers and sesame seed oil to treat their hair and to give it an attractive scent. So bakit nga ba mahaba yung hair nila? So usually it's part of their tradition. So their hair was cut short only as a punishment kung meron silang mga nagawang hindi maganda sa society. So, aside dun sa nakalugay yung buhok, they piled up their hair on top of their heads and tied it high on the crown. So, yun yung tinatawag naman na nakapusod. So, as you can see in the picture, when the hair is tied up, they make sure to put some accessories on top to make it look more good. So usually yung mga golds, yung mga iba't ibang ipit or accessories is ginagamit nila. So kung titignan natin, the woman o yung mga babae na without accessories, those were the alipins. Okay? So usually yung mga matataas or maharlikas lang yung gumagamit ng mga accessories. So, another example is cloth-headed coverings called putong were also worn by men. So, putong is commonly associated with bravery. So, ibig sabihin, it symbolizes a, a man that is strong. So, you're on top or one of the most strong and mighty warrior of your barangay or your place if you have that significant putong na tinatawag or the turban. So during Spanish times, new set of jewelry became popular among Filipinos. So that is the tambourine jewelry, which was introduced by the friars and it was widely worn at that period. So the tambourine jewelry is design was inspired by the rosary. So the religious beads highly associated with Catholicism. So that jewelry was used to spread Christianity in the Philippines. So during the Spanish colonization of the Philippines, which began in 1521, jewelry such as this were used as tools to replace yung mga amulets and yung mga talisman na ginagamit ng mga tao or yung mga ng mga Filipino or yung mga anting-anting na tinatawag na ginagamit ng mga Filipino. So, pinakilala nila itong mga ganitong jewelry to fully converted dun sa Christianity or dun sa religion na dala nila. And usually, uh, pag sinuot na ito ng mga tao or especially the girls, that is the declaration of their Christian faith. But also, may way din naman na sinusuot nila to para mas gumanda yung itsura nila. So now let's move to the architecture. So first we have the household structure. So, an example of this is bahay kubo. So, the bahay kubo is one of the most common household structure seen in the country. So, the bahay kubo is also known as the nipa hut. Usually, this whole house is more evident in the towns and provinces. So, especially sa mga farmlands wherein they use it as a resting place for the farmer. So, kung makikita nyo or mapapansin sometimes, pag dumaan kayo dun sa isang bukid, you will see a bahay kubo in the middle of the fields. Why? So, they use this as resting place first. So, when pagkakain na sila, dyan din sila kumakain ng sabay-sabay, the farmers. Okay? And sometimes yung mga belongings nila is dyan din nila iniiwan while planting or while working in the field. So the materials used for the bahay kubo are dried palm, leaves or the sawali, reeds and straw. The structure of its roof is steep to allow the air to circulate inside the hut. Kaya nga, pag sinabing bahay kubo, presko dahil pumapasok or nagsisirculate yung hangin sa loob. Another one is bahay na bato. So bahay na bato is a type of architectural house design that was developed around cities and towns during the Spanish time. So it was commonly built for well-to-do families during that period. So yung mga mayayaman or yung mga may kaya, usually ganyan yung mga bahay nila because they have enough money para magpagawa ng mga ganyang klaseng bahay. Other than that is mga bahay kubo, yung mga bahay nila. Okay? So, until now, the bahay na bato still exists in some part of the country, especially when you visit the town of Vigan in Ilocos. So, their ancestral houses are well preserved that reflects our country's cultural heritage until now. So, when you visit their town, it's like you were back into those early days because of the house structures and transportations. And the main entrance door was wide. Its walls were made of stone or adobe for the ground floor and hardwood for the walls of its second floor. So, kung mapapansin nyo yung mga sinaunang bahay na bato, they have a lot of windows around the house. So, yun din yung way para makita yung mga paparating, yung mga dumaraan, and also para mag-circulate din yung hangin sa loob. Another one is the chalet. So, chalet is a Swiss architectural that first emerged in the country during the American occupation. So, the chalet is one-story house which is slightly raised above the ground with a veranda or open porch that usually runs either along the front or two sides of the house. So, the cottages in Camp John Hay in Baguio are example of chalets. Okay? So, chalet nowadays often used as a house or yung place to rest for skiing or snowboarding sa ibang bansa. And they were originally meant for summer. Kaya nga, ginawa nila yan para hindi masyadong mainit during summer. Para kahit nasa loob ka, yung hangin is nagsisirculate pa rin. So now let's move to the ancestral churches. So we Filipinos are known to be a religious people. That's why we usually value faith and religion. That's why yung mga ganitong klase ng structure, the churches, were very important to us. As evidence of our faith, we have various ancestral churches that are centuries old. And these churches were commonly found in the different parts of Lowland, Luzon, that serves as a symbol of greatest influence of the Spanish who colonized the Philippines for more than 300 years. Okay, so marami tayo makikita ang mga ancestral churches, especially sa Luzon, dahil yan yung mga parts ng Philippines na um, na-colonize talaga or nasakop ng buo ng mga Spaniards. Except yung Mindanao, which is uh, dominated by the Islam faith or the Islam religion. First, we have the Bharaswan Church. So, the Bharaswan Church in Malolos, Bulacan is a Catholic church that was a venue for some of the important historical events in the country, one of which is the inauguration of the first Philippine Republic by President Emilio Aguinaldo. So, the Bharaswan Church was declared as a national shrine by President Ferdinand Marcos for its significant part in Philippine history. So the name Baraswain came from the missionaries uh, in this town who came from a similarly named town in Spain. So nung dumating yung mga Augustinian missionaries, nakita nila na parang familiar yung surroundings like dun sa town na meron sila sa Spain. That's why pinangalanan nila itong church na Baraswain. So the Baraswain Church is uh, Roman Catholic Church, first built in 1630. So the old church was destroyed by fire in 1884 and nirebuilt lang nila during 1885. So that is the Baraswain Church from Malolos, Bulacan. Another ancestral church is the Pawai Church. So it is located in Pawai, Ilocos Norte. It was built way back during the Spanish times. The church architectural design follows the Baroque style, similar to the church structure found in European countries. So Pawai Church is also known as the Saint Augustine Church, and this was found by the Augustinian missionaries in 1593, and it is considered as one of the oldest church in the country. So the Pawai Church is known to be outstanding from other well-known churches. Why? Because it's impressive pyramid-like structure. So pag sinabi kasi nating Baroque style, ito yung highly decorative and theatrical style na paggawa ng mga churches. So kung titingin kayo ng mga church from Europe, may mga similarities sila. And because of its national and cultural significance, it is recognized as one of the UNESCO World Heritage Sites. Another one is the San Agustin Church. So San Agustin Church is located within the walls of Intramuros in Manila. So it is considered to be the oldest church in the Philippines. It was built in 1586 under the supervision of the Augustinian friars. So San Agustin, Manila, officially known as Church of the Immaculate Conception of San Agustin. So, ito nga yung pinaka old or pinakamatandang simbahan na makikita sa Pilipinas. So, it exhibits remarkable features such as retablos or yung mga altar na kagaya dun sa Baroque style sa Europe, and yung kanyang walls are very matibay. And also, what makes it unique is its ceiling painting. So, kung titignan natin like the Sistine Chapel, yung ceiling niya is maraming painting. Same with the San Agustin Church. So the centuries-old church witness to the is one of the witness for almost 300 years of Spanish ruling in the country. So also it has survived many bombings and earthquakes, and through its countless renovations, the Filipinos incorporated different influences already, including Filipino and Chinese design. And also, we can say that this church stands as a witness to the rises and falls of the Philippines. And also, like the common structural design of the Catholic churches around the country, the San Agustin Church also features the Baroque style and also recognized as one of the UNESCO heritage site of the country. And now let's move to the sculpture. So aside from churches, the sculpture found in Lowland, Luzon also shows the influence of the Catholic religion to the Filipino culture. So let's see the different sculpture that they make. So for instance, the streets of Paete, Laguna is lined up with various wooden figures of religious Catholic icons. So dito, mapapansin nyo, dun pa lang sa mga labas ng bahay nila is napakaraming mga sculptures ng mga religious wooden figures. So, nandyan si na Mama Mary, um, and yung mga iba pang mga santo na kinikilala ng mga Catholics. Aside from Paete, Laguna, the town of Macabebe in Pampanga also produces wooden figures used in Catholic worship. And now, let's see a small clip on how they do the sculpture of the religious figures.
Papakita ko naman po sa inyo kung paano po magsimula, bumuo ang isang imahe o paggawa ng isang santo. So magsisimula po muna tayo dito sa blocking. Hahati-hatiin po muna natin ang mga kahoy. O, next step natin, pagkatapos mag-block sa bansuan, dito na ngayon tayo sa bagbag. Ngayon itong pagbabagbag, dito natin makikita ngayon yung scaling ng paggawa ng santo. Muka, leeg, katawan, yung ripahe ng damit, doon natin makikita ngayon dito. O, pagkatapos magbagbag, dito na tayo sa linis naman. Pagkatapos natin i-blocking, yung mga detalye ng ukit, ng bagbag, i-detail natin ng maayos na. Pagkatapos natin linisin yung, pagkatapos bagbagin, lilinisin, dito naman tayo sa asisin natin. Tatanggalin na natin, pakikinisin na natin ng gusto itong mga inukit natin. Ito yung as-is na tinatawag natin, sanding paper. Tapos yung as-isen, dito naman tayo sa painting, naman to, stasyon. Nilalagyan pa namin ng primer yan, tsaka mo ngayon pipintahan uli ng kulay balat, tsaka ka ngayon magmamasilya uli. So, ito na yung last na stage ng paggawa ng isang image na santo. Ito yung para sa akin, pinakang gustong-gusto ko. Matagal, siguro abutin tayo ng 2 weeks. Mahirap mo rin madaliin kasi oil siya, mahirap siyang matuyo, matagal. Sa mga gusto magpinta, tiyaga lang din. Tsaka focus ka dun sa gagawin mo. Kung saan ka, tsaka wag mong lagyan ng doubt yung trabaho mo. Simula pa lang, ito nakuha ko to sa isang magaling ding pintor. Nakuha ko to. Sabi niya, wag mo lagyan ng question mark agad yung trabaho mo. Para natapos siya ng maganda yan para sa'yo.
Okay, so that is an example or a small video or small clip kung paano nila ginagawa yung mga figures na binebenta nila.
Papakita ko naman
So as of now, we see or we saw from our lesson that the arts and crafts of Lowland Luzon is a reflection of the ancestral culture that exists long before the arrival of the colonizers in the country. So masasabi natin na we have the culture before the Spaniards came in. And when the Spaniards colonized us, it's at some point it helps us Filipinos to make different things that can help our lives. So nowadays, it becomes a means of livelihood for many people living in the area. We saw how the colonizers, specifically the Spaniards, influenced the way we live that until now reflects our daily lives. So thank you so much for listening, grade 7. Until our next lesson, see you next week. Bye!